is a challenge I am seeing more often now, primarily because these cars are getting so old. In fact, the last two radiators I removed from a Mercedes with the OM617 turbo diesel engine, and I had problems with it. And I want to kind of show you how I deal with it, because if you ruin your oil cooler, like this one here, these are no longer made. They're very expensive used, and when you get a used one, you might not even know if the threads are any good. So I'm going to explain what the problem is, and then we're going to attempt to remove this one right here, which is frozen onto the bottom of this oil cooler. The root of the problem is that the oil cooler and the threads on the oil cooler are aluminum, and the nut for the oil cooler hose is made out of steel. It's not necessarily dissimilar metal corrosion, because they don't really corrode down in there because of all the oil, but it has to do with the heat expansion contraction back and forth over thousands of miles in over 40 to 45 years, and this seizes onto the aluminum threads. So the first thing I do when this happens is, you don't want to force it. This one was forced. It wasn't backed properly. It was just turned, and it just came out of the cooler housing. Okay? Now, if you want to really clean this and you're good at aluminum welding, and you can pick up another oil cooler with a good thread, you can cut the thread off and weld it here, and you'll have an oil cooler. So you can see this becomes a real challenge and can turn into a big wrench dance, as you'll see here shortly. Two reasons why I cut the hose. Number one, to get it out of the car so I can deal with this on the bench. And the other reason why I cut it right here is so I can get a socket on it. That's a big 27 millimeter or 1 1/16 inch socket. Anytime you're dealing with this, you have got to back it. Remember, this is just aluminum down here, and this has a nut shoulder on it, so you can hold that with a 22 millimeter, and then you can get a big wrench on it like this. And, you know, I'm going to twist that right off. Even with this long ratchet, it's not budging. So I found the only way you're going to get this off and save this $300 oil cooler is to use heat. I don't want to use a torch here. I don't want to use, propane because of the oil in the cooler. So I'm going to use a heater that some of you may have not seen before. So enter my induction heater. This is a copper coil that I've made big enough to sit right on over the nut. And we're going to try to heat this nut up using this induction heater, no flame. Now hold the button down, and let's see how long it takes to heat up. You do have to hold the button for it to heat, and you're not going to see much. You don't see any flame. You don't even see a hot wire there. Now we've been going a little over a minute, and you can see the smoke is coming out here. So I'm going to try it once, just using medium heat, and we'll see if we can break it loose. Now I do have a fire extinguisher handy. I doubt whether I'm going to catch the oil on fire. We've drained this very well here. Okay, once I release the trigger, I'm going to set this aside, and let's see how hot this got. Okay, you can see it from over here. Wow, look at that. We're up to 400 degrees right now. Isn't that amazing? So I think I'll give it a try. Look at that. Oh, baby. Success. Isn't that the most amazing heater you've ever seen? Now, I'm not going to touch this I'm just going to get it off, and sure enough, we saved the threads and we saved this oil cooler. That fitting came off so easy, I didn't need a socket. I could have used my special wrench. This is a special wrench we make here in the shop just for these oil cooler hoses, and that will keep from rounding out the nut. But I want to share with you a little tip. You say, well, I don't want to cut my hose. I have a good hose like this. You can take this induction wire and uncoil it. You can see this one's kind of deformed. Let me show you what they look like when they come in the kit. This is what they look like, and this one's all deformed. And the reason is, previously I had one of these, the top nut was frozen. I uncoil this. I'm not going to do it now, but you can spread this out, put this on, recoil it, and put it right down around this nut without cutting the hose off. So that's just a tip I want to share with you. And then once you get this to where you can put a line back on these threads, you want to kind of run one of these nuts down from a good hose. I use my Miracle Lube here to lube those threads, and now you can see that I can get this started by hand. It's going to go right down almost all the way by hand. That's what you want. And then it'll start to tighten up at the bottom, and then I can move this wrench in and give it its final torque. When you do the final torque, be sure and back it with this 22 millimeter open end. So that's the way you want to save your oil cooler.